This has been a busy week of shows, man, and I'm digging it. So before we get into everything and bring on Dave Silveria from KoRn, very excited. Every other episode for this month, but every episode we do once a week is sponsored by Fort Scott Munitions. Fort Scott is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition. It's designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out, quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring they receive the same results with each pull of the trigger. Fort Scott Munitions is available throughout privately owned businesses in all 50 states, as well as directly online through fortscottmunitions.com. I'll spell it out for you guys: FortScottmunitions.com. Their stuff is in high demand, flying off the shelves. And as we're recording this one, you're gearing up for your next of a long hiatus. This is the second, before a long hiatus of Battleline Tactical
Yeah,
Courses. You'll be shooting Fort Scott.
yeah, they're at the compound in Crete, Illinois, which is south of Chicago. It's a suburb of Chicago, South Chicago. Yeah, it's Fort Scott Munitions, defensive concealed carry. So we teach people how to shoot and draw their weapons from a concealed position. It's not a concealed carry course as far as getting a concealed carry license. It's actually showing you how it can be difficult if you really are out in the real world and you have to draw your pistol from a concealed carry position or inside the waistband holster position. And it's a perishable skill. I think people just assume as soon as they can shoot their gun, well, it's going to be easy to draw it. It's going to be easy to clear my shirt. It's going to be easy to clear my belt. It's going to be easy to get the gun out of my waistband. And it's not. You have to practice that. And of course, working with GRS within the agency, that's how we always carried. And we had to and honestly, our courses were pretty dang tough when we had to get vetted and then certified, I should say, or just qualified to go down range. So we had some pretty arduous concealed carry drills and practicums we had to do and to qualify. So I just kind of pull a little bit of that into the training because it's fun. And Fort Scott Munitions too, man. That stuff just runs and it just pushes through and it hits everything and it's consistent. It's like you said, it's amazing. And so, yeah, blessed. I get to go down there and shoot another 500 rounds, which is nice. And sorry for all you people that are waiting on your ammo. Yeah, man, that they take good care of me and yeah, it's the best home defense ammo, and now they make also a range ammo, which is a lower grain, so it's a cheaper cost to go out there and shoot and train with your pistol. So if you're going
Which
to
means
get that
I could probably use some of that.
Yeah, no, Ian. Hey, did you hear that, Robbie? Ian needs some range ammo, but just got to figure out how to ship it into New York. That's between you and Ian. But
I think
you got to come to the course, man.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have an issue, man.
I don't know
New
the
York's
rules.
not California, who knows? But Long Island, New York, I honestly think you're fine.
Well, then
at least for shotgun ammo, yeah.
Well, get him some ammo, and yeah, Ian's definitely come to a course you have fun, dude. We have a blast, and then we do throw a little bit of basic movements and shooting from vehicles in that defensive concealed carry course, but that's not our vehicle defense course where we actually teach you how to shoot and move and fight from a vehicle. We just get into it just a little bit because, I mean, think about it. If you're driving in your vehicle, if you're in a concealed carry position, you got to learn how to deploy your gun from a vehicle from that concealed carry position without hurting yourself or hurting anybody else in the car or having a fatal accident just because you can't get your gun out of your waistband, which it happens. So, but
I have no problem saying too that, if you're going to take a course and you really do want to learn how to stay calm during violence of action and all that, as you speak of, dude, you are the guy to go to. And I say it because there's a ton of people teaching courses who have never really had to experience those circumstances. They hypothetically are able to run through what it would be like, but you've been in those circumstances. What would it, dozens or hundreds of times?
We'll just say dozens. I don't know. I'm a pretty humble guy. And by saying that means I'm not humble. Did I just say I'm not humble by saying I was humble? But I've been a few times. Yeah, I'd say let's just keep it in the dozens, because let's say 90%. Be realistic. 90% of the time you're downrange, you're playing Call of Duty. Say the other 10% where you're like, man, I'm not getting paid enough to do this stuff.
But you did it for years. I mean, not just as an Army Ranger, but as a CIA contractor. So.
Yeah, did and taught it to other CIA contractors and their special operations guys. That's the difference too, though. Is you have to be able to to operate within the environments and utilize your systems. And I'm always learning too. I'm still always learning, but then you have to transfer over and be able to teach it as well. And sometimes those guys, some of the best operators in the world, couldn't teach for shit. You just can't get they can't get the curriculum. They can't get the teaching points over. And that's nothing to knock them. It's just how it was. I used to be like that too. I just learned from other good instructors how to instruct. It wasn't, hey, I'm a great instructor. It was, man, I got to instruct. I got to start learning how to be an instructor now, and not just somebody that goes downrange and has to utilize your weapon systems and has to utilize them in very, very close environments. And so not only did I learn from guys that were good operators, awesome guys like Frank Grippy, First Sergeant Grippy, who hopefully we'll have on the show here. You got Sergeant Strucker, who threw me through Ranger Indoctrination Program. Then you've got my guys, Sergeant Roop, Sergeant McCaslin, and these guys, and Sergeant Joshua Wheeler, who was a E5, and when I was a untabbed private, then a Spec 4 there at Range Battalion. And I so admire this. This is one of my things I'm very proud of. When Sergeant Wheeler died, he was a Delta unit operator. He was with Delta, and he passed away a few years ago in Syria. But he was a tremendous Ranger, and of course, tremendous unit soldier. And I said just Delta operator, I should call him. D-boy. Let's just use D-boy. That's what I like calling him. And but one of my favorite things, and one of my biggest mistakes in the military was Sergeant Wheeler. At the time when I was a Tab Spec 4, just got back from Ranger School, he was a E5 promotable. He was getting his squad in Bravo Company, and it was 2nd Platoon. He was 1st Platoon. He was getting his squad, and he asked me to be his team leader. And that, to me, that was, wow, man, this guy awesome, man. Wants me to be his team leader. So you have your two teams within your squad. And at the same time, though, my platoon leader was asking me to go be an officer because I had my master's degree at the time. So I had to make a decision, and I chose to go be an officer. Looking back on it now, and again, I'm glad it worked out. Nothing. It worked out. But man, I was like, man, wouldn't that have been badass? Because Sergeant Wheeler was a badass at that time, and he had an E5 with all that piss and vigor he had. He was the most motivated son of a bitch, and for him to see something in me, to say, hey man, I want you to come be one of my team leaders. I obviously felt like I was doing something right as a young Ranger at the time. But anyway, getting off the Fort Scott.
Yeah, no, I could tell that you are a natural at what you do. But yeah, so use exclusive promo code Battleline for 15% off your order at Fort Scott Munitions. 15% off FortScottMunitions.com with promo code Battleline. Only available to listeners of the Battleline podcast. And Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Chris Peranto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline podcast. And you know what I should say before we get into the actual show? If people, you have other classes lined up, ChrisTantoPeranto.net, right?
Yeah, go to ChrisTantoPeranto.net, or you can even just search Battleline Tactical. It's the first thing that pops up on the Google search, on the old Google meter. And we've got courses. Actually, I've got one in up in your area. Got one in Maine, and we already have 8 signups. I thought we weren't going to have any, and if we weren't going to have any, I was going to cancel it. But we've got 8 signups.
All right. Well, with that, we got Dave Silveria coming on, so let's get right into this episode.
On the microphones, pure and uncensored American straight talk. Never quit. You're locked and loaded with Chris Peranto and Ian Scotto. This is the Battleline Podcast.
Which is on, motherfucker, I'm going to shoot you in the face.
Let's
Switch is on, episode 32. Dave Silveria from KoRn. I know both of us are nerding out, geeking out. It's going to be cool to have him on. Great dude. So yeah, this has been a pretty eventful month for us in terms of doing more shows. Been an eventful month in the world of podcasts. Hearing about Joe Rogan getting $100 million from Spotify. That's huge.
Did you like my GIF? I'm taking crazy pills right now.
Hey man,
whatever.
The stock went way up. I think it's a good move. I actually do.
It's good for all the. But I'm like, okay, whatever. You know me, dude. I give two shits about Joe Rogan. I know I'm one like the minority, but good for him. And I don't give two. I don't. Come on, man. He's fear factor. I feel like, Todd, you're no.
He's a great interviewer, though. He is. I think he's super skilled at what he does, and they don't pay you $100 million for nothing. So
I wouldn't say that. Obviously, they do. Oh yeah, there was get some hates out there. No, I don't care, man. I'm glad you like it. It's good. It's good news, but I don't listen to Joe Rogan. I still don't listen to Joe Rogan. Whatever.
So well, yeah. If they invite you on, though, you better fucking go on.
I'm not going on Joe Rogan.
That would be great. Dude, you know how good of exposure that would be, though?
Oh, fuck. I give two fucks. I sure, dude. I would do this for fun. And you know what? If he was going to have me on... I'm
trying to get that Spotify money, bro.
he probably should have had me on a long time ago when I actually was out there speaking all the time about everything that was going on in the world and the news. Now it's like, well, dude, we'll do our own.
The other thing I wanted to bring up in terms of our podcast is I did get an email from Gotham Podcast Studio, and it looks like early next month studios are going to be reopening. So cool. For the people, I have gotten some reviews. Like we got one 4-star review that was like the only reason it's not 5 stars because the sound quality is not great. If you listen to the old episodes, the sound quality is great. We're going to be back in studio. They're taking very big precautions, which I understand. It's New York City, so they are gonna digitally get your temperature before you walk in. You're gonna be wearing a face mask in the lobby. You are not gonna be going behind the board to talk to the person in the control room. It is what it is, but I'm gonna be glad to be back in studio regardless. And we're being pitched some really big names too, because our friends at Simon & Schuster have really noticed the podcast, and Chris Wallace from Fox News wants to come on. I would have Chris Wallace in the studio.
I would love it because he's old school, man. I would love to have him on. Guys like him or Larry King. And I'm saying this with a lot of you guys know from listening to the podcast, my grasp of the English language sucks. I should be British. I'm telling you, I probably talk better being in England than I would here. But Chris Wallace, and I'm saying it with all endearment at all, and as much respect as I get, but Larry King, Chris Wallace, those guys those are the old school guys, man. Lou Dobbs, another one, old school guys that have been around forever that have still managed to stay relevant when media has completely changed. And they'll even tell you media has completely changed from when they first started. So I think that'd be awesome to have Chris Wallace on, dude.
He wants to come on. And if we're back in studio, I want to get as many people as we can in studio. I'm kind of Skyped out in terms of just doing the remote stuff. I like being in person where I could talk and have a real conversation. I know you're in Omaha, but it's still different, I think, when we have someone in studio with me. He has a new book out about World War II, so we could talk about some military history stuff, and that's really what he's out there promoting. So
perfect.
Yeah, he'll be great for sure. So I'm excited for that. I'm a lot of good people on the rise. And then, if we're back in studio, I was even thinking my friend James Powell, former Marine, former CIA, would love to have him in studio. Maybe get Jim West in studio for an appearance and stuff like that. And I know you have people that you want, and same with people I want, but I'd like to get some of the New York people when we could finally be in person again. It's a different feel.
It'd be nice, and to have the studio there again. But for me, I'd love to do a Ranger month, and I'll got to reach out. I've just been procrastinating reaching out to my people, but we talked. I said maybe Sergeant Major Frank Grippy, Command Sergeant Major Frank Grippy, who I know a lot of you don't know who he was. If he comes on the show, you're gonna know who he is. The man, and he's a guy I admired one of the he epitomizes what Ranger Battalion is. But also, another friend of mine and I'm proud to say we went to basic training together. We went through airborne, or he went to airborne together. I didn't have to go to airborne. I went through the jump phase because that was my second time in. But we went through RIP together. When I went through the second time, it was his first time. And then we're at Ranger Battalion together. That's Leroy Petrie. That's Medal of Honor winner Sergeant Leroy Petrie. It'd be great to have him on, and he's a friend. So I think that'd be a great interview. And bro, I tell you what, for those that want to know about never quitting, never giving up, and just intestinal fortitude, mental toughness, and epitomizing Ranger Battalion again, that's Sergeant Petrie. I mean, so I loved it. And then Matty Waters as well, another Ranger that I served with that is tougher nails. He lost his leg doing an RPG in Afghanistan, and he currently is an EOD tech on the Tacoma Police Department. Wow. I'd love to have him on. So there's another, and he's another guy I admired that was ranked higher than me. He was a tab spec 4 when I was a private, and he was one of the nice tab spec 4s, relatively speaking. Most of the time, the tab spec 4s, those are guys that are E4s with their Ranger tabs. Most of the time, those guys are the devil. I was too a little bit. When I got my tab, it's just a rite of passage. But Matty was one of the nicer ones. Again, that's relatively speaking. They're not nice. He just wasn't as demonish as the rest of them. But he taught me a lot too, and he taught me how to be a Ranger. And again, he epitomizes intestinal fortitude, never quitting, never giving up, and it shows within what he does now. Lost a leg, and he's still out there actually, and he's still out there looking for bombs on the police force, even though he lost his leg due to an explosive. So I mean, that's amazing. So yeah, we got a lot of people we'd like to have on, and we'll reach out to them, and hopefully we can get them on in the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, for sure. Those EOD guys are complete badasses. So much respect.
Yeah.
And we will, because I'm thinking next month, if I'm back in studio, I want to do all in studio if I can. I know we got to get Josh Jesper back on because I owe him an interview. But other than that, I would like to do all in studio for a bit while we're back in studio, because we've done more than enough of these Skype ones. But I'm very excited to see Dave Silvera's on. And I should throw this out to you guys. After our interview with Jimmy Allen threw us a song and said, "Hey, how would you guys use this as an intro?" And it sounds so badass. So I just got to get some voiceover done for that. And in June, we'll have a new intro, and you guys are going to be blown away by how cool this sounds. Like I really dig it. I know you do too. Yeah,
no, I feel like Jack of Spades, man. I got my own theme music, man. I feel like
by an award-winning songwriter too.
Oh no, but dude, the guy that basically made, and all the Puddle of Mud guys can be mad at me for this if they hear it, but the guy that basically started and made Puddle of Mud what it is with their great songs, and you have that guy writing a song for you. Yeah, I do. I feel like Shaft with my Shaft theme music in the background. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's rocking, dude. It's kick ass.
I'm so psyched for you guys to hear it. So that'll be in June. I'm going to just, get the production done. But yeah, we have Dave Silvera waiting. So I want to just let you guys know once again that Fort Scott Munitions is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition. It's designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that it receive the same results with every pull of the trigger. Fort Scott Munitions, it's available throughout privately owned businesses in every state, as well as directly online through fortscottmunitions.com. Use our exclusive promo code Battleline for 15% off your order. Only available to listeners of the Battleline podcast. Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Chris Peranto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline podcast. If you guys are on the market for ammo, you're going to want to go there and use that discount code, because they got some great stuff. And with that, let me add the one and only Dave Silvera to the call. I am psyched, man. You don't really need an intro. I feel like this audience really knows you. Yeah. I mean, so many guys, whether they are former military or are just in that demographic, grew up listening to KoRn. They know your work. But Dave Silvera, original drummer from KoRn, from the original lineup, 93 to 2006, current drummer of Bias. And I got a chance to speak to you like a year ago. And the crazy thing is this. a year ago, you guys were really gearing up Bias, getting everything set off the ground, doing a ton of shows in really your area, the Los Angeles area, at these classic venues, whether it's like the Whiskey A Go-Go or the Troubadour. And then COVID-19 hits, live shows are not happening. So, like, what have you been up to? Because the songs are killer, and like, I love what Bias has been up to, man.
Our last show, COVID started out 2 days before our last show. We played a show at the Whiskey. It was a really good turnout, but the reason we booked the show is because we had two really big managers that were supposed to come to the show, and both of them at like 7 o'clock called me and said, we're not going to be able to make it because they're both over 60, and they both had kind of wheezing problems, and they're both going, we're kind of scared to come out to the show. So we booked the show. We ended up playing it anyways, and then after that, we haven't rehearsed one time. We haven't talked to anybody. It's just been total shutdown. But we do have 8 songs fully recorded and mixed and ready to go. So whenever this industry gets back going, we're going to send out all of our music to everybody we can think of.
Is it even going to get back going? I mean, look at everything now with y'all and not being able to perform, because that's where it's killer. It's at those small venues, and you get in. And I still a bucket list for me to go and watch. Actually, it'd be awesome to see you guys at the Whiskey A Go-Go. That's like a place I haven't been. I've been a lot of places. I haven't been there, and I growing up watching music videos where that was the place, whether it was Motley Crue or anything, and just like, oh my gosh, I got to go see that thing, man. I got to go get in there, feel that adrenaline. But since that stuff, is that ever going to go again? I'm just saying, are they even going to open again with all the rules that they've set? How can you have? And I'm saying social distancing. I'm smiling as I say that because I hate these damn keywords that everybody uses now, these power social distancing. But how do you do that when how are you going to have anything like that if you can't even get close to each other? You can't get the mosh pit going anymore. You can't stand next to each other and sweat next to each other, which is part of the fun of a concert. What's going to happen? I know your opinion, but you all want to know because you've been in the business forever.
Honestly, I don't really see major sporting events where people are sitting side by side or even concerts really happening until there's some kind of vaccine for this thing. I don't really know how else to do it. I mean, they're finding out it's less contagious than they thought.
Oh, without a doubt. You know, actually, yesterday what came out was that like a quarter to half of New York has it. So here's the thing. It's contagious, but a lot of people don't even know if they had it.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to test for the antibodies tomorrow just to see, did I ever get this thing? Because I have no idea. But yeah, it's definitely less deadly than we thought for sure.
Absolutely.
Don't even get me started on all that shit. With the government telling you what, yeah, that doesn't happen. Our government's always honest with us. Always. I mean, come on, look at Benghazi was a video too. And it wasn't a coordinated attack or nothing. Yeah, me and Ian go around and around about some of that stuff. So, well, it is what it is, brother. And I'm glad you're still, and I listened to the Bias. I listened to Ian sent me one of the songs, and I listened to
Pity.
it.
I Pity is still my favorite.
Wow, you're doing what you did when I was at Range Battalion and we were listening to KoRn. When I was listening to Follow the Leader, I was listening to, and that's Range Battalion music. That's the stuff we were kicking in the Battalion Fitness Center. That's the stuff when I went down range. Before you get out the gate, you're turning on KoRn. You're turning on Slipknot. You're turning on we had Slipknot. You're turning on Rage. And you're just jumping up and down on those light armor vehicles, getting ready to go out the gate, getting pumped up. So, man, listen to that again. It just brought me back. It brought me back a lot of memories to the early 2000s. And man, I'm telling you, your music means a lot, and I don't play it lightly. When Ian says, man, the veterans listen to you, they respect you. Your music got us through a lot of those deployments, brother. I'm telling you, and you're in particular because you made KoRn what it was. I don't think the sound was the same once you left. And not knocking the guys, I still like Jonathan Davis's voice. I was crazy grumbling when he had WC doing the Crip Walk and all that other. That's cool, but the songs that you made were the ones that we listened to, man. So I asked Jimmy Allen the same thing. I want to ask you the same thing. Were you doing that at the time just to make music? Or did you notice having an effect on the military world? Did you even play into your mind that stuff was what we were listening to when we were training, when we were going through all our deployments? Or are you finding out about this now? I see the flag in the background, so obviously I know you're patriotic. Was that ever in your mind, or did that come after when guys like myself were telling you, man, your shit kept us going, your stuff kept us going?
Back when I was still in the band, people were still sending fan letters, and we got thousands of fan letter from military personnel. And I always remember when we would go to Norfolk, Virginia, we would play, and at least 70% of the people were in Army fatigues when we play. So I used to always bug the guys whenever we would go across Europe or even the United States. I always tried to get our managers and our band to go play on military bases and do free shows, and they never wanted to do it. And then I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they played a couple shows in Germany on a military base, and I was thinking the whole entire time I was in the band, I used to bug everybody, let's go do shows on military bases, and nobody wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Well, brother, you were there. Whether you were there in body, you were damn near there in spirit. And I always remember watching the videos, and I'd watch you come out. I'm like, yeah, there's the yoke guy. They got all the guys in the band, and I was like, who is the dude with the tank top? And he's all jacked, man. He's on the, and then I was like, oh, that's because I didn't know. I just knew you were the drummer. I'm like, holy shit, that dude's pretty ripped up. I think I need to listen to these guys a little bit more. So Brett, and I said, I've seen some of your other pictures now. Are you doing a lot of, looks like you're doing powerlifting, man. Are you doing a lot of that stuff, or you just avid weightlifter? Or you just avid getting in the gym?
You know what? I wouldn't say really powerlifting, but since I left the band, I've probably put on about 15 pounds of muscle, just because I upped my protein intake and started kind of working out a little bit different. I was pretty lean and kind of thin when I was in the band, but
I wouldn't say that, dude. I would say you were lean. You were lean, but you weren't thin, dude. You're still pretty. You look like a guy that was in shape, dude, and that's a compliment. And
thank you.
But bro, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were avid. I had no idea that you were avid in the weights and stuff. And maybe after Ian has a question, because I got a ton of questions and I'm stumbling.
Well, you know what? I'll actually. This is a nice little transition. I talked to Dave about this the last time we were on, so I know this story, but the audience might not know.
I want to know the story.
Well, you'll think this is great. So this is when you were saying how you were like lean and in shape at the height of the KoRn days. That's when you did the Calvin Klein ad, which I thought was badass. It was cool.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Of course, Corey Taylor. Yes, so Corey Taylor came out, and this was like early Slipknot. Took out the picture of you and Calvin Klein and said, "This is rock star bullshit that we don't like." And I think he burned the photo of you. And you told me you got a chance to confront him about doing that.
No shit. I can hear this.
We were at a festival in Europe. I don't even remember which festival because there's tons of festivals. There's a whole festival season in Europe for hard rock music. And we were just crossing paths backstage one day, and he was like 10 feet walking in the opposite direction. And I looked over at him, and he kind of put his head down, and I swayed over next to him, and I slowed down really slow, and I said, "You got something to say to me?" And he didn't say a word, and we just kept walking, and that was really it. It wasn't really a big deal.
It's still funny though. It's still a funny story, I think, because just all those years later of him, giving you shit for something that I think is cool, and I know Chris could relate to it because a lot of people gave you shit for doing the sunglass commercial, which you stand behind,
and then I did my own little shirt off commercial on a shirt off ad on a gun magazine called Ballistic. But I don't, like you said, who gives a shit? I did it. So what?
Well, the whole reason I did that ad was because I don't know if you guys remember when the first when I guess they call them dirty jeans, when the fad came out where jeans were ripped and torn and all that shit.
Well,
that was Calvin Klein introducing their version of dirty jeans. So it wasn't like underwear or anything like that. It was called dirty denim is what it was for. So it was basically advertising Calvin Klein's version of ripped up, all messed up, dirty jeans. So it wasn't like I was doing underwear ads or anything like that.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I'm kind of paraphrasing something Paul Stanley said, but I know you went through it when Follow the Leader blew up. Like your fan base of probably people my age were like, these guys are sellouts. They're now playing stadiums. They're playing arenas. And I remember Paul Stanley from Kiss saying, like, if you think I got in the music business to play in a venue of like a dozen people, like you're fucking wrong. That's not why I did this. Like I wanted our band to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think anybody gets in the music business hoping to only sell out a 400-seat club or something like that. I think everyone goes in with high hopes and dreams to eventually sell out arenas or stadiums. Absolutely.
Well, bro, I got a question for you and something I want to know. And I always want this for our listeners because we get a ton of veterans that listen, or we get military personnel or kids aspiring to go into the military. But as you were coming up before you even went in, and you may have been asked this before, but what was your driving force? What kept you to keep going? Because I know you hit a lot of obstacles. Obviously, you're going to get to the success that you are. And then once you reach that success, you hit another obstacle where you separated from the band, but then you pushed on again. What kept that drive in you? How did you maintain that intestinal fortitude, is what we call it in the military, to continue to succeed and just continue to push through all those obstacles? And any little anecdotal testimony you can give us, it helps, because it does help people out there that are going through problems right now. We get a lot of them. We get a lot of listeners, and I'm not afraid to talk about my failures and obstacles. And I'd like to hear some that you've been through and what has made you that jacked up individual you are today with the flag in the background, brother. I'd like to know.
Well, my final days of KoRn, which most people don't even know, was I actually broke my back a couple months before I left the band. I was on my way to a video shoot. I was actually working out of my house. I was doing some squats with some heavy dumbbells. I had a TV above me. I squatted down and I arched my back to look at the TV, and I fell backwards.
Oh.
And I broke my lowest 2 vertebrae in my back, and I didn't even know it. And I went to a video shoot that day, all hunched over and crawled up on a drum riser and played the video shoot.
Well, by the way, which video was this? Like Twisted Transistor? Because I'm thinking timeline.
No, I think it was the very last video we shot for it. It was after Twisted Transistor.
Okay.
Definitely after. So after that, I was suffering major pain in my back, and it just kind of led to me kind of pulling away and just saying, I need to take a break from this. Just being in major pain. I ended up having a surgery, and I got screws and pins in my back and a synthetic disc, all kinds of nonsense.
Oh, wow.
That was bad, yeah. But I mean, as far as coming back and playing music again, I mean, I never lost my love for music. I mean, I've always loved playing drums and always loved playing music. It was just a kind of a matter of finding the right guys and guys that think alike as far as their writing and their taste in music. And I finally found the right crew of guys, and now we're making good music. We've got, as I said, we've got 10 songs fully recorded, unreleased, ready to go as soon as this thing opens up and we can have a chance to send them to some managers and see what we can do.
Oh yeah, and we'll make sure we get them out there too on our stuff. I obviously going to do that. Man, back injuries, I don't know. And you kept playing with that back injury with the broken back. See people out there push through it. You can push through all the pain in the world, and you're still out there hitting the drums. That's badass. That's some toughness right there.
It didn't feel good, I can tell you that.
And where you got some numbness with. And I get Dave. Are you a drinker or no? I used to be. I don't drink a whole bunch anymore. So, but I would say during that time, if I had a broken back, I'd be hitting the Jack Daniels a little bit just to numb that pain up a bit. But God dang, brother, I admire you, man. That's a cool story. Really cool story.
It was no fun. And I was actually misdiagnosed from a doctor, and I walked around with it for almost a year.
For how long? A year?
Almost a year, yeah. Until I went to a specialist at UC Irvine.
Holy shit. Oh, that's unbelievable. Did you keep lifting, or you keep going to the gym and hitting, or did you just have to take time off and just say, screw it, it's just an injury, I'm going to deal with it?
I had to stop, yeah. I had to totally stop. Yeah, it was bad. It got to the point I could only walk about 20 yards and I have to sit down. And that's when a very close person to me said, hey, you should go see this person at UC Irvine. They fixed my back. And I went in, he looked at my old x-ray, and he said, I can see from across the room your back's been broken for almost a year.
Holy shit. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, it was bad.
That's crazy. How long was it that you had to stay off playing drums, stay away from weights? I mean, all the stuff that you love, that's your outlet.
After my back surgery, it was a good 8-9 months.
Damn, dude. I mean, it's got to be really depressing, because I just know from you as a fan, and you've spoken about it, your outlets are your weight training and playing music. And when you can't do that, I mean, how do you push through that?
A lot of boredom, a lot of booze, sitting on my couch, honestly, taking pills.
Hey, bro,
I can imagine.
I've been there, man. The pills, the numbing everything up to the pain, whether it's emotional, mental, or physical, man, you do it, and then you find a way to get through it. And you did. You obviously did. You came out of it. Those low, and I'm sure that was a low point in your life, brother.
Absolutely.
Hey, bro, can you tell me? I know with the new band, and you've got the new band Bias, and I want to talk a little bit about your days with KoRn too. I know you're always going to get that,
Sure.
but with the new band, with your guys there, and I don't know any of the members. I'm not familiar with their names, but how did you find them, and how does it feel now? I know you said you found the right crew. How did that happen? I mean, how does it come together, and how do you not feel a little bit jaded or a little skeptical when you meet a new member? Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go through what I went before, and keep an open mind and just keep it. Just say, hey, I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm bring these guys in, give them the benefit of the doubt, and see if they work out. But because it would be hard. It would be hard for me to have that negativity inside me, be like, man, I don't want to go through what I went through again. With another group, and not have that open mind or the positive mental state that obviously you had.
Before Bias was actually formed, I was playing with a couple of other friends, and they actually introduced me with a couple guys that are now part of Bias. So at first it was a different version with a different singer, and then we brought in a couple guys that are in Bias now. Eventually we got rid of the singer because he wasn't very good, but we just, the guys in Bias, we just instantly formed bond. And our vision of how to write songs, that's a big deal. As you know, when you're trying to write a song and you're going part to part, it's just all about who comes up with the next part and how it's perceived. And these guys, we're all on the same page, which is kind of rare actually for a five-piece band to all be on the same page. Like, I mean, probably 75% of the time we're all on the same page about a direction of a song, which is pretty rare. But we've managed to form a bond and a friendship it's really, I mean, I don't mean to badmouth it, but I mean, it's probably better than KoRn ever was, even at the beginning, as far as the friendship. And but I think some of that has to do with our age, though, because we were pretty young when we were in KoRn, when KoRn started. So, yeah.
I think people realize that because you with teamwork, and one of the best teams I ever had, I was in Kandahar, Afghanistan, and we just got along. And honestly, that's probably the only place I ever was in 10 years as with the team that we all got along. But you still had to succeed. You still had to complete the mission, which, and you're not selling it short, but that sounds like how it was with you and KoRn. You guys were extremely successul, but you always didn't all get along. And that's the case with a lot of guys down range too. That's, I think, I will relate to some of the music. But now you're with, and that's the best team I were in Canada where we did get along. Bias, obviously, you guys are getting along. Fantastic, dude. This is bringing back memories of all my deployments and my training there, man, and my time at Fort Lewis. So I appreciate it. This is therapeutic for me. Whether all you listeners get anything out of this, I don't give a shit. This is good for me right now. So
I think you can go on probably YouTube and find it. I don't remember the circumstances, but we had some kind of contest, and forgive me, I can't remember if we flew out of Germany or if we flew out of London. But we chartered a big plane, and everyone took, like, I took a miniature drum set and they took little miniature amplifiers, and we chartered a big plane and we filled it full of military personnel that were coming back to the U.S. to New York.
Whoa.
And we flew. I don't remember if we left Germany or the. It's on the internet. You can find it. There's some footage of it. And we chartered a plane and held like 75 people. And we filled it with military personnel coming back to New York. And we actually played live on this plane. I played this little mini drum set, and the guys were playing this little amp. And it was amazing. I don't even know. I wish I remember if it was from Germany. For some reason, I think it may have been from Germany. But we filled this plane and flew back to New York City with a plane full of military personnel coming home. It was pretty. I'm not even sure how the thing got started, but it was a pretty amazing experience to talk to these guys.
How the hell did you do that? I mean, it must have been on a 17 or a C5 or something bigger, and it's probably Landstill or Stuttgart, I'm sure. But dude, I've never seen that. That has got to be. How do you play drums on a flying, moving, especially in turbulence? Did you just hit when you hit turbulence, what do you do? Oh, I meant to do that. It just sound.
it was actually a little mini kids drum set.
Oh, the little itty bitty. Oh,
yeah, it was a little tiny kids drum set, so we put it in the exit row.
That's so cool, man. That's a funny story. You know what I wanted to ask you about? when you talk about like the turbulence with the relationship with KoRn and that you really are getting along with the guys that you're with now, do you think it was like too much fame too fast? Because for me, you know, I grew up on KoRn. I was probably 12, 13. I think I mentioned to you in the last interview when I was bar mitzvahed, I had like a KoRn theme. I swear, I still have it in my parents' basement. It says Ian's bar mitzvah, and the R's are, you know, the way the R's looked in KoRn because I loved you guys. So this is like me geeking out. But when you really think about it, 93 to 2006, it probably felt like a long time in some ways, but it's only 13 years, and it probably flew by in some aspect. And
Fly by.
to go from when you started with the band, you were a young teenager. Do you think it was just like too much success, too fast? The guys all dividing, living in different places. Did it make it hard?
Honestly, without getting into too much detail, it really didn't get hard until about our fourth record. And that was because of attitudes changing within the band, and as far as the relationship with our managers, that's what kind of set in the division between the band members. I don't want to really get into details about what happened there, but
I guess
Sure,
that,
don't.
yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about that, bro. Yeah, not at
up
all.
until
Don't
that,
need to.
up until that, everything was really good. And I would say after our fourth record, or during our fourth record, is when everyone kind of started pulling away from each other and not being as close as we were in our first three records. And it kind of separated from there. It kind of drove down my passion, my interest for the band.
No, I fully understand that. And you know what I was going to ask about too is one thing that I think is kind of rare about KoRn, and Chris knows I'm a music nerd and I look at the credits, and even as a kid I would always look at the liner notes. And you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm pretty sure on all those albums you were on, or at least the original albums, you guys all shared songwriting credits.
Yeah, we wrote everything as a band. No one really wrote anything as an individual. We wrote everything in the studio together. So yeah, it was all equal songwriting credits on everything. So
you're still, I assume, getting some nice checks from when a KoRn album is on a TV show and a movie, which happens.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Royalties are flowing.
Hell yeah, man. That's good. Glad to hear it.
Well, and you deserve that. Again, hard work. You worked your ass off. Why not to deserve it?
Absolutely.
I didn't ask you this, but when you mentioned that you wanted to go, and I know you're pushing to play for the troops, why at the beginning they didn't want to do? Can you tell me? I want to, just as a troop, why not? Why is it because of money they didn't want to go? And I don't know who they were. I don't care who they were. I just want to. What's the reasoning behind not wanting to go play for the troops? Does it come down to money? And that makes sense. Hey, come on. We live in a capitalist society. I understand that.
Honestly, I never really got a straight answer for them, because my ideas were when we were already booked, getting paid for a local show, and there was
yeah,
and there was a base nearby. I would say, let's go try to set up. It's not going to hurt our show. We're already getting paid to play, a few miles down the road or whatever next night. Let's go set up a troop. Let's go set up a show at a base. No one just really seemed interested in it.
Well, I know in recent years you've been like a vocal supporter of the military, supporter of the NRA, and you are very open about your politics. The cool thing is, I mean, KoRn was never a political band. You were not like Rage Against the Machine. The songs were more about inner turmoil, dealing with emotions in your lives. Did you always have these beliefs, or was it, after KoRn that you wanted to come out there and say, this is what I stand for. This is why I'm proud to be an American?
Well, my political beliefs would be this: smaller government, lower taxes, less regulations, strong as hell, huge full-on military. I mean, and if you want to take all those things and decide which party lines I go on, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. But I mean, to me, I would think those are just all pro-American views, not left or right. I would hope that every American would think, okay, lower taxes, jobs incentives, lower regulations, jobs incentives, strong military. If we didn't have our strong military for people like Chris to protect us, we probably wouldn't even be here on this call right now. We wouldn't be able to do anything without our military. So, I mean, for that, I say thank you for your service, because people like you have given all of us the opportunity to do everything we do in this day, in this entire country. Every single day we owe our military. So, I mean, if you want to categorize me as left or right for having all those, I just think those are American beliefs, not left or right beliefs.
See, I agree with you, bro. I got into the side when Benghazi happened. I did. I got in. Hey, let's pick a side, and I never had picked a side when I was deploying. I think a lot of the guys I served with, we didn't pick a side. We just did the job because we enjoyed the job. Right. It wasn't. I ain't going over because exactly. Because President Bush is in office. I'm going. Oh, fuck you. I'm not doing that because of him. I'm going over because I want to go over and protect. And just like, let's be realistic. I liked it. I was enjoying what I was doing over there, and I was enjoying being with my buddies. So I agree with that. And whatever party line somebody wants to, well, then you put me on that party line. I'm not putting myself on that party line. And with you saying that, those are American values. That's what I believe in. And whether I like a president or not, I don't give a shit. Most values are never going to change. And I know we got to get into it. We will segue to it because I know we're waiting, but I know you're NRA. We're going to talk about guns here in a little bit because I want to know what you're carrying. We're going to break that.
You're right.
Hey, use NRA support. I know your Second Amendment, dude. If anybody wants to give you shit out there about it, they can meet me behind the stage like you met Corey Taylor, and we can talk about it at that point in time. But no, getting in that, and I appreciate that, and that's why I wanted to have you on, because I think people need to see that too. That they see the Rock area, they see California, or they even assume with Hollywood that everybody's anti-gun, anti-this, and I'm like, no, guys, they're not. There's a lot that are extremely, extremely strong, and they don't just do the vocal. I support the military and just check the box. They actually do, and that's why you are breaking whatever stereotypes people believe out there within the people that in the music business. So we'll get into that. Enough patting you on the back and sucking your, because I have been. I want to get into, because we haven't talked about it, dude. I want to get into your guns, man. I rep a lot of gun companies, unless it's going to hurt you down the line. No, screw it. I want to talk about it anyway. What are you, where are you at? Where do you live, first of all? And are you allowed to carry? Because some of the states, you're not in California still, are you? You're not out there.
I am California.
Are you Northern California though? Or are you Southern California?
Southern California, Orange County.
Orange County's, out of all of them, it's not a bad place. I know a lot of the gang unit guys down there. They're good guys, actually, for the most part. But when are you carrying? Are you, not every day? But what do you like to shoot? What do you get? When can you shoot? What do you prefer? Those kind, because our listeners want to know that. I want to know that.
I really don't have that many guns. I've got a Glock 9mm and I've got a Mossberg shotgun.
That's all you need, man.
I'm also a New Yorker, so it's like we both have the tyrannical gun laws going on. You more so than me.
And the Mossberg ATI tactical shotgun.
That is a badass shotgun, bro. That's a great home defense weapon right there. Oh my Lord, yeah, that's those.
When I bought it, I bought the critical mass shells.
Oh my Lord, dude. Don't break into Dave's ever, idiots out there. Don't do that.
And I buy them, and then I find out if I shoot them in my house, they're going to go through my wall and into my neighbor's house.
No, that's what we got to be careful. We do teach that, like, guys, if you're going to shoot, remember you're responsible. And I say that you're responsible for that round. If that round, even if you get the bad guy and it goes through and it hits your neighbor, guess who's going to jail too? You're going to jail too, and we do teach that a lot when I do my training.
I bought smaller rounds.
You get it, small, but those are still good to have. It makes you feel good. It's like Johnny Dangerously. This gun's going to go through that wall, that school, that church. That it's the movie, guys. It's not me. Johnny Dangerously. Am I dating myself? Am I that old? Ian's like, what the fuck movie are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Michael Keaton. Never mind. No, the Mossberg, actually, when I was doing anti-piracy stuff on ships, I carried a Mossberg. I carried that exact same gun for the Somali pirates when they would try to board American ships. That was another fun contract I used to do. Great gun, dude. And you're always welcome on a Battleline tactical course. That's my company. If you were in the area, you come out and shoot, dude. You're always welcome to come and pew. We travel everywhere. Actually, I'm heading to South Chicago, to teach a course tomorrow. And it's mainly when we get to California. Yeah, brother, we're getting up to the valley. We don't find a lot of ranges down in Orange County. It's usually Fresno and above. But I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. You know what I was wondering about? You made the transition right from doing really growing up playing these venues that you've been playing in more recent months, whether it's the Whiskey, the Troubadour, all the places I listed, from going to doing soccer stadiums, arenas. You know, I got to see guys at Madison Square Garden way back in the day. How does it feel playing those small venues again? I mean, do you enjoy the more intimate crowds? And you're playing with bands like Orgy that you have a history with, and probably some of the crowd who came out for Orgy didn't even know who Bias was. And they're like, that's Dave Silveria behind the drum kit.
I'm sure they did. It's been. I mean, sometimes the shows are really great, and other times it's kind of frustrating going back to these really small venues. But I mean, overall, we're having a great time, and we're loving what we're doing. And we're just hoping for this COVID thing to go away, so these managers that we've contacted will show some attention.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and I've heard that some of these like these classic venues on the Sunset Strip may be going away. Like I'm hearing things about the Troubadour, because are they going to be able to last a whole year without shows? I mean, these are smaller venues that rely on a band like Orgy and Bias packing in a show. And if they don't have that, they're not bringing in revenue. I mean, it goes back to the same things we were talking about with taxes and the economy. It does worry me, man. Is it just going to be a Staples Center in LA, and for every band trying to come up, they're not going to have anywhere to play? It's a weird situation right now.
Honestly, I have no idea how most of these small bars and restaurants and music venues are going to survive. I mean, everyone's falling so behind on the rent. I'm just worried that so many of them are going to disappear. It's going to change the face of our economy for generations.
Yeah.
I really don't know what to think.
And by the way, you're someone who has an experience with that, because you did own a restaurant at one time. So, I mean, you know what it's like to make payroll and all that.
Yeah, I own 2 restaurants, and the profit margin in a restaurant is so slim. When you hear on TV about these restaurants being open at limited capacity, they would be lucky at limited capacity to even be able to pay their rent, that they would not be able to pay any salaries, any kind of basically any bills, any property taxes. I mean, it's almost better to just completely keep it closed than to even open at a limited capacity.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, the profit margin on a restaurant is so slim. If you're not at capacity most of the time, you're not making money.
Now, your restaurants, do you still have those, Dave? Are they still, or are you suffering with the rest of the small business owners right now?
Sold them a few years ago, thank God.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's too bad. Give me, with what's going on, I'd like to hear, this is a platform recommendation, man. What do you suggest? What do you think should happen? With me and Ian and I have different thoughts. Of course, I'm in Nebraska, he's in New York, so we're seeing different things. I'm like, hell, open it all up. Screw this shit. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But, and then I don't know if Ian's on the completely other spectrum, but he doesn't see it that way, which is fine. We're different areas. I want to know your opinion, and it's good to start having those opinions out there now, because we are hitting a point where people are going to suffer more than just having the virus. They're going to lose their livelihoods. They're losing everything, not just their lives, but they're losing. And then in turn, when they lose their livelihoods, they could lose their lives too. Depression and suicide. So, what do you think?
We already know there's a big uptick on domestic violence and suicide.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of it's going in the wrong directions. I think depending on the city, obviously they're huge, heavily populated cities. They need to be monitored much more closely. That's obvious. But there are so many cities around the country that I think it would be completely safe to open up. Social distancing, masks, just hand sanitizer all over the place. And I think it would honestly be fine. I mean, especially outside places with patios. We're finding out more and more that it's not communicable as much as they thought off of like shells it's not even that bad. So I think I would say, except for the heavily populated areas that they need to be more careful, I think we should open this thing up.
Yeah, no, I would personally agree with that. And you know what's crazy is, I mean, I've said it before in the show, I'm currently in Nassau County, Long Island. Other than Queens and the Bronx, we're being hit the hardest in the country. Yeah. So I do understand the slow opening up here, but we slowly are opening up. In your area with Gavin Newsom, it's actually been completely out of control, because you don't have it nearly as bad as New York. And this guy is like, we're not going to open up anything until what, July, August?
Especially here in Orange County. The rate here in Orange County is really low. And I mean, everywhere I go, everyone's wearing masks. Everyone's flocking to the hand sanitizer. I mean, you go to a grocery store, there's people with sanitation wipes wiping down all the cars before you even take a cart. I mean, they're being very careful here. But I mean, Orange County has a very low infection rate. And there's a whole downtown area with super high expensive rent and all the hours, bars and restaurants, and they've been closed for 2.5 months now. And I honestly think maybe 40% of them are going to come back, and the rest of them are going to have to close their doors for good. I've got friends that own these places down there, and most of them are saying they're probably not going to be able to come back.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I want to shift gears here a little bit and go back to some KoRn stuff. Because I think a lot of our listeners have probably read about this, and maybe even you too, Chris. I see David smiling already. This is at least what I'm thinking, because I'm smiling. The recording sessions for Follow the Leader are legendary in the amount of money you guys spent on booze, the amount of money you spent recording that album. Tell us like a cool story from the Follow the Leader sessions.
That you can tell without incriminating yourself, because you can't confirm or deny, and we can edit it out. But I'd love to hear that too. I would. Being that age I was when I was listening to it, because I was full of debauchery at Range of Battalion when we were listening to that. So believe me, and I'll tell you. You tell me a story, I'll tell you one. I'll tell you one of mine. 10 for 10. How about that?
When we recorded Follow the Leader, we rented a house in the Hollywood Hills, because at the time everyone lived in Orange County, which in the studio was actually in the valley. So that was about an 1.5-hour drive each way. So we didn't want to drive because after a day of recording with these headphones on and hearing the loud music in your ears, you're completely fried. When you come out of the studio, I mean, your ears are ringing. I mean, it's actually kind of hard to get in a car and drive an 1.5 hours home. So we rented a house in the Hollywood Hills, and it was kind of a house up on a hill, where the main story was actually the second story. So it had a balcony looking over the backyard. And after our recording studio sessions, we ended up always, for some reason, having 25 people at our house every night after recording sessions. And we started throwing beer cans and liquor bottles over the balcony into the backyard, surrounded by a chain link fence. And after the first or second night, we had our crew guys, they were cleaning up the backyard. For some reason, after the first or second night, we told them, we said, don't clean them up anymore. Let's just see what happens. So by the time the recording was done, there was about 3.5, 4 feet in the entire backyard, all the way up to the chain link fence, of beer bottles, beer cans, and liquor bottles.
Holy shit.
And I think they recycled it, and they got a couple $1,000s from the recycling.
Are you shitting me? Okay, I don't have that cool of a story. That's actually a pretty cool story. I just got cool at drinking and passing out in the team room. That's
we
really
spent about $225,000 on liquor on that record.
Which is legendary, because I've seen articles written about that like the Follow the Leader sessions were the height of debauchery. I mean, looking back, was it a fun time, or you were just like, I was out of control?
Both.
Good answer.
But the good thing was is I didn't drink before I would record, and I didn't drink. I can count on one hand how many shows I've played drunk throughout the entire career of KoRn. I can count on one hand the amount of shows I played drunk. I was always disciplined about that. I never recorded drunk. I never went on stage. I take it back. One hand. Playing shows drunk. The other guys, they would drink all day and just go sloppy as hell on stage. But I just never did it. Because being the timekeeper, I mean, if I go off, everybody goes off.
Yeah.
So before recording and before playing live, I would never drink. But when it was over, I would pop it up when I go for it.
Well, that's it. That's the end of the day. That's the end of the. It's just like coming back from a mission, coming back from a training op, coming back from an op out. Hey, that's the end of the day. You got to decompress, and I can't do it now. I can't drink a drink without feeling hungover in the morning, because I'm so damn old, and I think my kidneys are shot anyway. But no, coming back from an op in whether it was Iraq or Afghanistan, or whether I was in Libya, and sitting down, and of course I'm going to have a drink or two, and that's the way to come down. and a way to decompress a bit. And I'm sure you with all that music, everything just amped up in front of all them people, you're going to have that adrenaline, that amped up feeling, and you got to come down some way. At least alcohol. I don't remember. And again, I never read anything you talk about, but I don't remember any you ever having. Maybe I'm off because Ian, I'm always off. Ian will correct me, Chris. He was, but I don't ever remember hearing about you and substance abuse or anything like that. So
No.
that's at younger ages we're going to drink a little bit, and that's good to hear. That I love that story. I wanted to hear that story too because I want to hear how high those bottles went up, and if that was the truth or it was just some nonsense.
Pretty under control during tour. I mean, when we finished the set, I would always pop a beer, but I mean, I was still going to the gym and working out when we were on tour all the time. So just being hungover all the time, it just didn't really fit into my style.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think like every member of KoRn, it seems like, has gone through some type of transformation, and being someone who's followed all the members, it's like Fieldy has become more spiritual. I know Head was the first one to really become more spiritual. Jonathan had a crazy year in terms of his wife dying and his own addiction problems. And I know for you, you've gone through your own problems too, especially as you mentioned with your back, and now you're doing your own thing, man. So I think probably those years of debauchery really changed people and made them want to become better people. I mean, you can't go on living like that forever. A lot of the guys who do end up dying young. We see Robin Crosby from Rat and a million other guys who are no longer with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these days I drink, but I'm more of either a wine or I just drink scotch and water just because of literally the sugar content, as Chris was saying, the hangover.
Yeah.
So yeah, scotch and water is great. Hardly any sugar, hardly any hangover. I mean, it's good. Or just straight wine.
And then that's the weirdest thing is the hangovers now. I shared a drink of scotch with my wife last night, and I slept till 10 this morning because I can't do it. Bro, I remember, and this is what I would used to do to haze when I was a team leader at Rangeman Town. I used to haze I hazed my privates. That sounded like doesn't that sound awful? I'm hazing my privates. I did that too. But what I would do, because I could run, and I could run drunk. We would drink till 3 or 4 in the morning, and then, all right, guys, let's get your stuff on. We're going out and running 5 miles. And that was one of my things to haze them, to make them quit, to see if they're going to, because I could do it. Now I can't have a sip and not sleep till 10 the next morning because I just feel like such dog shit. Dog shit.
So you're drinking straight scotch?
Actually, no, and it was even mixed. No, she put scotch in and she mixed it. Oh, there's the sugar. Shit. There you go. I know what you're getting at. I'm a dumbass. All right, got it.
Scotch and water.
I got to do the scotch and water. There it was. It was the sugar.
There's the recommendation.
Got it. Okay. For all you old farts out there, well, they probably all know it. I'm just an idiot that doesn't. I got it. No sugar. No sugar after midnight.
When we wrap up this interview, I'm gonna have the I'm gonna play the song "Pity" from Bias that we were talking about before, because I really want the audience to hear what you're currently up to and just that classic drum style that you have. That's, I think, been missing from the forefront of rock music. For people who have listened to your music over the years, I mean, what artists help you develop your style? Because I do think you have an extremely unique style of drumming.
Yeah.
Put on Bias, you're like, there it is, and it's been missing.
My early days, my favorite drummer was Mike Patton from Faith No More and Tim Alexander from Primus.
Great.
Wow.
And then later on, fast forward to Biased times, my favorite drummer has probably been Tim Alexander and Carter Buford from Dave Matthews.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. People would not expect you to be a Dave Matthews guy.
Carter Buford is one of the best guys ever. He's amazing.
Dave Matthews. The Ants Come Marching is that Ants Marching? That's on my workout playlist. I love, and that part of it is just because of that beat that they have going on. But I don't know the drummers for shit. See, don't even try to get me started. I still think band members are alive in certain bands that I still listen to. Ian has to correct me. He's like, dude, no, that dude passed away like 10 years ago. Oh shit, I just heard him on Octane. Are you serious? Yes. Yeah. So, but that's amazing to hear, bro. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Now, I don't know if you're still married or not. Are you still married? You're still married, right? Or see, am I going to get it wrong? You are.
Yes, I am married. She's
All
a
right.
school teacher and she has a concealed carry license.
Are you
Nice.
kidding? that was actually my next question. I was saying, does she shoot too, or does
Yeah.
she take? Is she better shot than you, brother? I'm gonna start shit. I like starting family squabbles.
You know what? She actually goes to shooting classes, so I bet she probably is. Unless I have
Is
a
she
shotgun, then I can take it all.
Oh man, that's amazing. And she's a school teacher, and she's for all you school teachers out there. You heard it here. It's okay. You do need to protect yourselves. That's what grade is
CCW.
that? What is she? What grade does she teach? If you don't mind me asking. My mom was a school teacher, and just something to relate to, I guess.
4th grade.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, isn't that scary? 4th grade, and you got to do conceal, but you got to nowadays, man. It's a scary place out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of
All
the
right.
kids are crazy.
How many kids? I don't want to go by Wikipedia.
Yeah. I have a previous marriage, and I have a 20-year-old and a 22-year-old.
They in the band. They follow in Dad's footsteps at all? Or are they going to go? Do I need to talk to them about going to the military? Rangers are a good place to go.
My son plays in a band. He plays guitar. He's got a great band called Your Favorite Color.
Nice. And would you say any KoRn influence with those guys, or was it something they didn't get into?
Those guys are like their music is like a throwback '80s with a new twist on the vocals. They're a
Very
really
cool.
good band. They've got songs all over iTunes. It's called Your Favorite Color.
Your
Okay.
favorite
and
color.
What type of 80s bands would you say?
I would just say they encompass more of the full-on '80s sound with the keyboards and all the kind of drum sampling and the weird sounds.
That's cool, man, because I know that KoRn had a heavy influence from, you spoke about it last time we spoke, Guns N' Roses, and also you guys were huge Motley Crue fans. So, I mean, you got a lot of that influence from those guys as well as Faith No More, and that's why KoRn had such an original sound for the time.
Yeah. I mean, KoRn. Honestly, the way we kind of developed our sound was we were really into like Faith No More, Red Hot Chili Peppers, kind of the heavier bands back then. But what really shaped our sound, honestly, is Steve Vai, when he was in Whitesnake, he came out with a 7-string guitar, which allowed him to have a drop string, and he produces a guitar through Ibanez. And our guys heard Steve Vai playing with Whitesnake with this drop string 7-string guitar. So at the time, Steve Vai was barely using the drop string, and our guys went out and they bought Steve Vai model guitars, and we played everything in the drop notes. So we kind of started that whole drop tuning era of stuff. And myself and our bass player, we were into hip hop music, so I started using these big 808 booms. So I bought a sampler and a sample pad and incorporated the kind of 808 things, and that's why they kind of incorporated the kind of rapish kind of beats here and there. So it was it was influence from all over the place, all the way from Whitesnake to Red Hot Chili Peppers, Faith No More to rap music, and we kind of all mixed it all together.
And it mixed well, and it gave that iconic sound that when old KoRn comes on, right when it starts, like, yep, that's KoRn right there. Hey, bro, I second marriage, and talk about it. I went through some problems with my marriage, and then also even that little bit when I was on the road for 3 years, nothing compared to what you did. But how do you keep that together, man? How do you got your wife's your current wife, school teacher? What did you learn at the beginning until now to keep that marriage strong and to keep the family together? Because I know you're obviously not traveling right now, but you're going to be most likely when things kick up. You're still in that same rocker world. You're still in the same where it can be. I'm sure it can be a little bit temptations, vices, and stuff out there that you've learned from. How do you maintain that healthy relationship now? How do you keep that strong, especially being still in the music business for so long and knowing what vices are out there?
Honestly, I would just say because I'm older now, more mature, and I can keep my thoughts together and keep it together first.
Yeah, that doesn't it? Maturity always works out. That you get smarter, you do get wiser as you get older, and you realize,
I was so young and stupid, and shit got so crazy so fast. It was just shit went off the rails earlier, and I mean, I think everybody gave into the craziness. I mean, it just got shoved upon us, and all of a sudden, money started coming in like crazy.
Yeah, wow.
And it really escalated fast. But now, being the age I am, and really having the wherewithal to appreciate what I have, I think that's everything. That's going to keep us grounded.
Just you learn from mistakes, you learn from failures,
Absolutely.
and you push up. And you know when you get your age to what 36, 37, you're like hey, shut up, Ian. We're
10 years.
only 38.
You guys are about the same age. I mean,
Yeah, I'm almost 50. I'm 49. You don't need to tell us your age. I'll tell everybody mine. I'm 49. I'm almost 50. Dave looks good. Like I said, I still am amazed when I saw the pictures of man. Because I
This
swear,
is my COVID beard. I have a little.
I love it.
I have a little dog that she has a full-on gray beard.
Oh,
I'm gonna post a picture. I'm gonna post a picture later on Instagram of me with my little gray bearded dog next to me and say, "When COVID turns you into looking like your dog."
hey, speaking of that, can you tell people, because this is for me, because I'm going to follow you on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle and what's your social media handles? Yeah, it's a necessary evil in this world today. You got to have it, but just let us know, because I think a lot of our listeners would like to know what that is out there if they already don't. And I'm one of those ignorant ones that don't. So.
In Instagram is just Silveria David.
Got it.
Last name, first name.
Got it.
Awesome, man. And for people who are just checking out Bias now, who are looking forward to the songs on the horizon, what are some things you'd say about this band and what makes you guys unique? What influences did you draw for this new project?
I'm not really sure if I can point out any specific influence, because I think everyone in the band really has a different personal influence. But I will say, I think the music kind of reminds me, reminiscent of almost the 90s kind of feel of music. But
Yeah.
our singer is very much in the future with harmonies and melodies. I mean, he's a real singer. He's not.
Yes.
He doesn't scream. He doesn't rap. He doesn't do any of that kind of stuff. No, I'm taking it. He does scream, but he screams with melody.
Got it.
But yeah, our singer brings us into the future, and our music is more reminiscent of the past. But I wouldn't say I could name any 90s band that sounds like we're ripping off. I would just say the music reminds me more of a lot of the stuff from the 90s, because I'm still using sampling pads and triggering noises and stuff like that.
And it did, when the song I heard, it reminded me of the 90s. It reminded me of when people actually wasn't the auto tune. People were actually playing their instruments, and it sounded like music again, which is, and maybe this COVID's a good thing. Maybe it's going to bring actual music back into music and not not over auto tuning or just where I don't think the talent is there in bands as it was when, but really, how can you, with that era that with you guys and came out and even I think Linkin Park was coming even then at that time as well. Honestly, that's an era right there that I don't think you can compare. You're not going to have bands like that coming out again.
I couldn't agree more. And without putting any individual bands down, I honestly cannot name. I mean, I would have to think about it to name a current band that I actually really listen to and really like. And I don't mean that in any disrespect. Maybe I'm just old school, or my taste is just not up to the current sound.
It's not a bad thing.
I don't listen to new music.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I was going to say, when you were talking about the updated sound of the vocals, I agree. There's definitely a 90s influence. Yet when I hear the new songs, they absolutely sound like something I could hear being played on Octane right now. And
the original,
being but it's in the same vein as those new bands. But your feel on there, it is going to appeal to someone who grew up on a KoRn, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, and that whole era, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, very, very groove centric.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I really been digging it.
I hate it when you guys use those big ass words that I don't understand. What the hell? Damn it!
The music's based around a certain tempo, which means the song grooves.
See, there you go. Groove centric. Wait, there, I got it. I'm putting it in my vocabulary right now. I wrote it down in my little book.
We were talking about the situation going on right now with restaurant owners, guys in bands. It's definitely a tough time in the country right now, and I can tell you that whenever I've had tough times, a lot of the music that you've made over the years
gets you through. Yeah,
has definitely gotten me through it. So for people checking out the podcast, whether they're military members overseas, whether there's someone in America who is furloughed from their job, and what would you tell those guys to get through this time?
You know what? Honestly, people are in such bad positions. I honestly don't know what to tell them other than I'm sorry and I'm praying for them. And I really hope when this economy opens up, people are not too much in the hole where they can revive their business. I mean, I'm just hoping and praying that it hasn't ruined so many people's lives that they're not able to come back. I mean, I really am. I'm really worried about it. And I think everyone should be worried about it because it affects us all, and it would be a drag on our whole entire economy. And I'm just praying that enough people find a way, and maybe these SBA loans are, hopefully they'll get to the right people. So far, it sounds like some of them are not. But I really hope that the small businesses are going to be able to get back on their feet. And I know just being able to not pay your rent and pay all of your employees for 2 or 3 months can kill a business. And it's already been a few months. So I'm really worried about the small businesses across the country. And I just really hope and pray these people can come back and reopen their doors and hopefully get caught back up on their rent and all their bills. Because if they don't, I mean, small businesses are the engine of this economy. If they can't come back, or if we lose a whole big percentage of them, we're going to be in big trouble.
And we can't, all these big conglomerate stores that it really does look like we're supporting them and not small businesses. That's not what this country's about. Really, it's terrible.
Small businesses make up 50% of the commerce in this country.
Yeah. And we need to get them open. And it's, again, Nebraska, we don't see it as much here. Our governor isn't as crazy as you when you get out there in California. And I'll call him crazy. Him, whoever it is. It's because they
Gavin Newsom, bro.
I don't know.
I would move to Arizona or Texas in a minute.
Brother, maybe that's where you need to be. I would too, because of the weather. Omaha is beautiful as far as politics goes because it doesn't have a ton of them in here, but the weather sucks. So maybe I need to get warmer down south. But brother, all I want to say is thank you for being on. If you can't, just remember, you have no idea. Again, I hope you can. I hope guys within that era that you were in understand how much you helped veterans get through the hardest times of our lives, and then to motivate us just to get out the gate when we didn't want to go out the gate, just to get you pumped up because you didn't know if you were going to come back, and you threw that stuff on. Your music really did, and KoRn especially. I still follow it. I still remember the album cover. I had it just when I first got it, of the first CD I got, and you helped us. You helped us immensely, and I hope that means something to you all out there. You helped guys like myself come home. You did.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that exact story. Every single time, it warms my heart. It makes me feel like mission complete. And all the people that have come up to me and told me that I've helped them, or our band has helped them through difficult times in their life, to help them get through and help them, be strong for themselves. It makes me feel so good and so proud of what we've been able to accomplish as a band. And it makes me feel good as a human knowing that I put out something that was able to help so many people. And I never get tired of hearing it. So thank you so much.
Oh, man. Amen, brother. No, thank you again. God bless you. And I appreciate you having on. This was a highlight for me. Really. I was like, it is, because this is what I cut my teeth on. And just brings back so many memories of me sucking, but having to embrace the suck and then turn on KoRn. We got back in the team room and vegging out, just head banging and getting the smile back, just like your smile, just that smile back on. I wish you could see my smile. And I'm wearing my 75th Ranger Regiment T-shirt right now. I can't put the video on because you can't see it. Son of a bitch. But I appreciate it, and maybe continue motivating people right now with bias. That's the calling. What you're supposed to do right now.
Chris, you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, of course. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you about 13 hours.
I've been asked everything. If you ask me something different, no way. I've been asked everything. Let's see what you got.
Okay. How close to the true story was that movie?
Brother, that even being on set, and that was amazing. I'll tell you right now. When we first were told, and 3 Arts Entertainment was the company that produced the movie, and they're the ones that did the book. Unbeknownst to us, I didn't know 3 Arts was that big in the movie industry. I had no idea who Erwin Stoff was. So when they bought the rights to the book, they had an idea in mind of what they wanted to do. We didn't. We just we're going to write a book. But as it moved on, and Erwin Stoff, for those who don't know who Erwin Stoff was Keanu Reeves' first actor, business manager, so forth. Now Erwin Stoff runs 3 Arts Entertainment, which is one of the biggest entertainment industries in Hollywood. But when they told us Michael Bay was going to do the movie, I'll be honest, I was like, what the fuck? Michael Bay?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I was like, Transformers?
It's a huge story, man. It deserves the best.
Well, yeah, but that's what, because you're thinking of, at the time, you're thinking, oh, it's got to be Peter Berg, or it's got to be Ridley Scott, or it's got to be Steven Spielberg, and now Michael Bay is in that category of directors. He's that well known. He makes that amount of money when he directs films, but you're not thinking, I'm not thinking of past Michael Bay movies. I'm thinking of Transformers, Right. I'm not thinking of The Rock, which was probably one of the best military movies made where the tactics were right at the time with the old Rock. That's Michael Bay. So when we met him, though, he's huge veteran supporter, gives 2 shits about politics, doesn't get in it. He loves the military. And I remember the first thing I asked him, I go, if you do this movie, we don't want to make it political. We just want to tell what happened, but they're going to come after you, especially Clinton. And I remember this is what he said. He may deny it. I don't care. We were in Miami in a restaurant, whatever restaurant he picked there, some high-end restaurant there in Miami. And he goes, I don't give a fuck what she thinks. We're making this movie. And I'm like, that's the guy. We need this guy.
Yeah.
Now, when he said that, though, long story to answer your question, he kept us involved. The reason I'm putting that backstory is because he kept us involved not only with the script writing, which we helped write the script with Chuck Hogan. If you don't know who Chuck Hogan is, he's tremendous script writer. We actually had to fix the script a few things, and he fixed what we wanted fixed in there. I got to know Pablo right off the bat. When Pablo was picked as the guy that was going to play me, my doppelganger, Pablo and I started talking on day one, and we actually are still friends. I just talked to him 4 or 5 days ago. And it shows within how he got the portrayal of me, because we hung out. We got to know each other very well. He's still a very close friend. He got my character. My personality is spot the fuck on. Except the dancing. I dance a hell of a lot better than him. That's terrible. But I used to do that. No, the dancing. But we helped write the script. We helped design the set in Bay Studios. And then we took turns on set. So each of us was on set for about a week. So you break that down. But, I tell people, being on set is one thing, but being on set's like when you play a game. That's really when the game's going on. If you don't have your ducks in a row before you get to set, then it's going to be fucked up. And we did. We had the script right. The actors were spot on. We had the set and the actual annex there that is in the movie, even though it's in not Tunisia. It's in there's an island, Malta. We filmed it in Malta and Morocco. And I was in Malta. I was on set during that time frames. That's the annex looks identical to the one we had in Libya. It's spot on. I walked on set on that annex that we had in the movie. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was like I'm back in Benghazi, and to watch them do the acting and everything, just to verify that yes, it was as close as it is, and he did. He got it damn near spot on. We had a scene where Pablo was carrying a Mark 46. That's what I carry. It's that little mini machine gun. I had that, and I had a rifle that night. Well, there's a hand placement on that charging handle that if your hand placement is wrong, right there, a veteran or a military, especially a Ranger, is going to see it in the movie, and they're going to say, okay, this movie sucks. It's wrong. Just from that little hand placement. Well, they were doing a scene, and it's when we got hit at the consulate, and he charged the charging handle on that Mark 46, but he had his palm down. Dude, that is right there. Every military person that's shot a machine gun that's been in the special operations or in the infantry is going to look at it and go and walk out of the theater like that's done. That little bit. And I said, after the scene was over, I walked over to Michael. I said, Michael, we can't do that. I said, no Ranger would ever do that with his hand. He's got to have that palm up or you're going to lose all your audience. Jacked it back up and they refilmed the whole thing again. That is the attention to detail that they wanted to get. And people can see us actually on set on the if you search YouTube and say 13 Hours of Men Who Lived It, it shows actually all the us behind the scenes with the actors. So yeah, it got pretty damn close as you could, trying to condense 13 hours into a 2.5 hour movie. And to be honest with you, brother, that in itself was an experience, because that was like reliving a very big moment of your life, and you're seeing it being portrayed, but then you're reliving it while you're on set. And I remember the first time I saw the sizzle reel, I broke down, man, because it was so fucking it was like, wow, I'm back here. And so but I'd be lying to tell you if I wasn't skeptical at the beginning when Michael Bay was picked, because
Yeah, of course.
but he did an awesome job. And for all you out there, Michael Bay is a huge veteran supporter. At his house, he has no movie awards at his house in Miami. It's all accommodations from all the military units that he has worked with on his movies when you walk in his house. And but the dude, I don't think he sleeps though. I think he drinks 8 million cups of coffee a day. But does that answer your question? Because I was very happy with the outcome, and Pablo did an outstanding job, and he should have won an Oscar for his portrayal of me. That's what I think.
I just cannot believe you guys took on that kind of force and you prevailed. That is fucking crazy. You guys whipped their ass. It was crazy. That's one of my favorite movies ever. It's amazing.
They did a great job, and the colors, and because all these war movies that you have out there, they're great. Don't get me wrong, they're great. Black Hawk Down, Lone Survivor, great movies. I know Marcus. I know actually Colonel McKnight, Dale Sizemore, the guy that was going to cut off his to go on the Black Hawk Down mission, the ping pong accident. Dale Sizemore was going to cut off. He's a good friend of mine. He lives in Iowa. I said I love those movies, but what they missed is they missed the color. It's not dreary. It's not dirty. The colors are so fucking vivid during combat. It's just so vivid. The things pop. It's like you're a racehorse and you take the blinders off, the side blind. And that's what 13 Hours got. They got the colors and the excitement down. It's not dirty. It's not dirty and grimy. Yeah, death sucks, but death is fucking vivid. Death isn't dull. Death is holy shit. My friend just got blown up. But to be honest with you, brother, we got lucky too. If they would have hit us with an IED or a VBIED, nah, we were dead. We just got lucky.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you have another one too? I love answering questions too. Can you tell I ramble too much?
Well, I really like the fact that when you guys were at the airfield, you only mentioned one time. I mean, just to keep the politics out of the movie. Yeah. I actually appreciated the fact, even though at the time when I saw it and I knew the real story, what was going on, I knew how much bullshit it was and I was disgusted with it. I actually liked the fact that you guys only mentioned one time.
Yeah.
That they said back on TV here in America that it was a terrorist, a local guy making a threat or something, and that it wasn't a coordinated attack on the consulate.
Well, and that's because really when you watch the news and we saw the attack, I remember seeing the attack in Egypt going on. And I'd been deploying at that time for over 10 years. So I'd seen a lot of those uprisings. I just, I kind of rolled my eyes like, well, fuck, it's Arab Spring. That's what they fucking do. It's the whatever time it was at that time. I forget what it is called. Whatever name the terrorists made up for whatever they needed to prove to overthrow a consulate. But I saw the stuff in Egypt and I was like, oh shit, well, guess what? Terrorists are overrunning something in Egypt, or they're destroying stuff again. Whoop-de-doo, that happens all the fucking time. So we really didn't know. But yeah, the video, that wasn't a concern. I gave two shits about the politics of it. I just wanted to fight.
I was glad to see you guys only mention that one really quick time, even though it is completely mindless crap. But yeah. I was glad to see that you guys only mentioned that one time. Didn't make a big deal about it.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. And at the time, it wasn't necessary to make a big deal. It necessary was just to fight and try to figure out our asses out of there. And we knew nobody was coming at 3 a.m. We're like, okay, well, that's what goes back to what we talked about with you. We all didn't get along. We all didn't like each other, but we worked our asses off to complete the mission and get everybody out. And we put all our differences aside to accomplish the mission. And hey, you can say that with KoRn, Andy. You compare the two. It's the same thing. You put your differences aside to put your best work out there and to win. And that's what we did. Yeah. So, brother, it's very, very accurate. And I'm honored that I was able to be a part of it. And I said, Pablo's awesome. He's just 6'4", 250 pounds. I'm 5'9", 160. So we're a little bit different in size. I'm a lot better looking than he is, though. So it's a good trade-off. He can be bigger. I'm handsomer. So, but
this was great, man. No, really appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna have this up on Monday. Our last guest was actually Jimmy Allen from Puddle of Mud, and Jimmy was like, "I like Dave. Dave's a funny guy." So we'll have Jimmy Allen up on Friday. We're gonna have you up on Monday. We've done a ton of shows this week, so at Silveria David on Instagram, at David Silveria 8 on Twitter, and once again, Silveria is Silveria. So at David Silvera 8 on Twitter, at Silvera David on Instagram, biasedband.com. Actually, bias. I almost said biased. Biasband.com, BIAS band.com, at biasbandoc on Twitter, on Instagram. Anything else, man? I think we've covered a lot. We've covered bias, follow the leader era, and it's pretty cool that you're a fan of 13 Hours and Chris, and I had a blast doing this, man.
Bruh.
Thank you guys very much for having me. It's very nice meeting both of you. Chris, I have the utmost respect for you, and thank you for your service to giving us this opportunity right now to be able to talk and all the other freedoms you afford us around this country. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you both for having me.
Brother, God bless you, man. Good luck to you, and I will push your stuff out there. This has been a great week for me. Jimmy Allen, Puddle of Mud. I got Dave Silvera from KoRn. Man, you have no idea. You just smile on my faces because you're just making me remember the great, even the awful times, but they were so great when I was in the military and deployed. And again, you did amazing, brother. Keep doing great things and being positive out there. And thanks for that flag in the background. That's fucking awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome,
hanging right here on my wall in my house.
Yeah.
Is there any story of where that flag's from?
Actually, Congressman John Campbell. Congressman John Campbell of California. He flew it above the Capitol. I think it was up for a couple days. Then he took it down, and I was friends with one of his aides. And then he sent it to me with a little certificate certifying that it was flown above the Capitol. So when I got it, I had to have it framed and put this little certificate in here.
Badass, man. Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Take care, brother. Take care. God bless you again. Be safe out there, bro.
You too. Nice talking to you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, you too, Dave. Bye-bye. Bye.
Dude, how awesome was that, man? Dave Silvera, I mean, dude, as I said, when I was 13, I had a KoRn, theme for my bar mitzvah. So I am as diehard KoRn as it gets. And I mean, for you, that's got to be cool that a guy that you not grew up, because you guys are about the same age, but we're listening to as a Ranger, as a contractor, say that his favorite movie is 13 Hours. That's cool.
That is cool. And you can't say I grew up, because you do. When you go in the military, you do. It doesn't matter how old you are. You really are. At least when I went in, I don't know how it is anymore. Maybe it's not this way anymore, but I know when I went in, they strip you. They strip you of your old self, and they build you back up. So you are growing up again, in a sense. And I do. I feel like there was two lives. There was me before the military, and then there was me after the military. And that was the music. Like I said, I always talk about the Funky Monkey there in Washington. The Funky Monkey, that's what they played. They don't have that station anymore, but you just turn on the Funky Monkey, and that's where you're getting Puddle of Mud. That's where you're getting KoRn. That's where you're getting Rage. That's where you're getting Primus. That's where you're getting that rock era, and Linkin Park at the time too, and that's what we played at Range Battalion all the time. And then when you go down range, what's everybody listening to? You're a bunch of running around with a bunch of alpha male. So what's going to be playing all the time? KoRn. You got Slipknot starting to come out. They're coming out with stuff. Then you got Mudvayne coming out with stuff. So that is what you're growing up on. And even when you're deploying, you're growing up again, because now you're learning something different about, and you're in war. You're not training for it anymore. Now you are going to be in war combat situations where you may have to pull that gun out, and you may have to take somebody's life. And how do you get through it? How do you remember the states? Well, like we talked about earlier, sports, when it's on AFN, that's how you tie back into the states and stay normal, try to feel normal. But the other thing that you have is music, and that's KoRn. And KoRn was, that's when the new good stuff really started to take a life of its own. And I still put those two up there together, KoRn and Linkin Park. They really did change what music was.
And you got to include Linkin Park, because it's I think you've seen it. Our friend Drew Dwyer, rest in peace, man. I don't know if you've seen the picture when he got to go backstage with Friend to a Linkin Park show. They brought a bunch of Marines back there, and Drew was a huge Linkin Park fan, man. So they're definitely another band of that era. Although I'll say, I think KoRn were really pioneers in that sound. No, Linkin Park was a few years later, and when KoRn came out, I think people were like, "What is this?" It was unlike anything.
It was, because at that time I listened to a lot of rap music. I liked NWA. And then Ice Cube came out on his own. I liked that gangster rap, And so I didn't want to listen. You know, I liked Motley Crue a bit. I did like the old rock, but that's what I was drawn to at that time. So when somebody came, and you know, I didn't really listen to a lot of other rock music or what you'd say rock or what. And then when KoRn came out, I was like, holy shit, they're fusing it together. It's getting the best of both. You're getting the best of gangster rap, and that's how I felt. Best of the gangster rap stuff. And then you're also getting the best of rock, and you're putting it together. They're the ones that are able to fuse it together. But I also think that's why you see WC doing the Crip Walk in KoRn videos, because they put the best of two together, and it made that sound that was you can't replicate KoRn's earlier sounds. You can't do it, and you
can't replicate the drums. It's
no.
You know, it's an interesting thing, actually, and I may have said this the last time, which was on Appetite for Distortion with Dave, but. You listen to the early KoRn, and it has this particular drum style, and the current drummer is a great technical drummer, but it's very similar to, because it was on Appetite for Distortion, we were talking Guns N' Roses. I heard Steven Adler, the original drummer for Guns N' Roses, once say that Matt Sorum, who was on the later Guns N' Roses albums, he's like, he's a great drummer, but he's like, sometimes I listen to it and it's like, is this a machine or is this Matt Sorum? And I think David, you know, it wasn't that it was so precise, so perfect. He had a certain swing and a certain groove, as he mentioned, to the songs, that when you heard it, you knew it was him. And just like when you guys hear Bias, you're going to say, all right, that's the drum style I remember.
Yeah. No, and you are, because he was there. He was KoRn. You heard the drums kick in, and then you'd hear, and you helped me out, bro, because I don't know the bass player of KoRn, but you hear, when the original, when those two would start, you hear the drums and you hear the bass, it just syncs so well together. But you're right there. I like, fuck, that's KoRn. It's like it's funky and they're hitting it hard, and that what was awesome about it. And now have him. And I know shit on the videos. When I used to see the videos, you would see all these long-haired, the one guy there with the dreads,
Are you talking about Head?
The lead guitar player, is that Head?
Yeah.
With the dreads.
Well, Head had the braids, and Fieldy had the dreads. And Monkey had the dreads.
Monkey. But then you saw the guy on the drums with the cut, like the actual the short haircut. He's got the tank top on. He's you can tell he's jacked a little bit. And that was what was cool to me. Is like, oh my God, all these long-haired, what you would think rockers at the time, and then you see the old school guy in the background that looked like actually old school rocker that should have been on the drums, back in the '80s. And he's buffed out too, and it just worked. I did like his little goatee he had though when he was playing. I like his goatee now, his beard now, but that little goatee, and he had
the bleach blonde hair, It was It's kind of funny because KoRn was one of those bands where everybody remembers like even the look of every single member, and a lot of bands I watch today, I couldn't, I'm a nerd for music, but I couldn't tell you the drummer, I couldn't tell you the bass player, because they're kind of interchangeable, and a lot of bands now, they're lucky if they go like a year with the same lineup. So KoRn went a good 13 years with the same lineup, and it's the same lineup today minus him, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but if they ever get accepted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or not accepted, you know what I mean, nominated to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I think is on the horizon. I mean, because you got Soundgarden and a lot of these other bands are being nominated, so I think they're the next guard who's going to be in there. I would think, even if they never reunited as a band again, I would hope for like a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame performance. They can get together with that classic lineup, have Dave on the drums. People want to see it.
It's up to, and I always leave that up to the individual. It's hard to say, and the reason being is because even with the guys I went through with what I did in Libya, it would be hard if somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, we want you and Oz and Boone and Tig to go do this function together." I'll be honest, it would be hard for me to say yes. So I would like to see it too, but I would understand if he said no, because some of those, when you go through, and he went through 12 years, they went through a lot of ups and downs. And you go through traumatic events, or you go through huge events, or you spend years together, and then you have that breakup. It's not easy to forgive and forget. So I would hope so too, brother. But if Dave's still listening out there, he listening to this cast, if he said no, I would understand, because
I don't think he would though, and it's actually from reading past interviews. I think it's more on those guys' ends, because I think he said he would do it. I mean, I think he's enjoying the music that he's doing
that's
now.
awesome. It's a
But
good
I think
place.
he's completely up for it. It's just, I totally understand it. I think it does have to do with the age. When
Yeah.
Frank was on the podcast from Muir, he said it. Familiarity just breeds contempt. You're on a tour bus all day with guys,
Yeah.
and he said it on his episode. He's like, yeah, a lot of it was my fault. A lot of it was the other guy's fault. I'm sure Dave would probably feel the same way in retrospect. I mean, yeah, there's times where you're probably sick of seeing my face because we were talking for 6 hours a week. Could you imagine if you're on a tour bus and touring every single city, and everybody, every mannerism is going to get on your nerves? It's just the way it is. I noticed that when I moved out of my parents' house, I get along better with them because I'm not with them 24/7. So it's not like, I think once you could see people every few days, it's easier to have like a good relationship with them sometimes.
Well,
I've never
I
been
hope.
married. I've never even been in a long-term relationship, so you could speak more on that. But I think sometimes just being around the same person day after day, I got along really well with Mike Binns when we worked on Will Cow's show. But there were times where he would get on my nerves, and it was for irrational reasons. It was stupid, but you got to keep in mind, like, people think a radio is this glamorous thing, but you see how small that control room we were in. It's like 4 hours a day of being in this little glass cage, and something Mike does is going to get on my nerves. Something I do is going to get on his nerves. Something Andrew does is going to piss us off. For the most part, we got along really well. I've been in other circumstances where I don't, but I think it's just the close quarters. That's what's going to happen.
I with my take on it is, and this is from just experience, my experience with with the guys and what I've gone through and what we've gone through together, and is that what happens, and especially when you have a falling out with groups. Like I said, I still get along with Tig real well. I still get along with Jack Silva real well. I just talked to Jack a couple of days ago again. But the other guys I don't. And what happens though is if you feel like you're going to be in the same area again, it's that feeling that you had when you had that falling out that you don't want to replicate. So I don't know if it's time away that heals. In my case, I don't think right now that's not the case. And that's okay. That's okay. I still wish them the best. I hope they all are extremely successful at what they do. But
also for you, there's no real motive to
Yeah.
have to get back with those guys. It's
Well,
not like you're in a band and you're going to go on tour. You're very successful doing your own thing. You don't. I don't know. There's not like a big demand of like, we need you guys all in the same room right now.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, even if there was, I don't think I would. But that being said, Dave, we're talking about Dave. That's why I would always say to him, people are going to pressure you. The fans are going to pressure you to, hey, be back together. But I'm going to tell him right now, just and I would like to call him a friend now. I would.
Oh yeah, dude. I can tell you right now, he texted me and he said, please give Chris my phone number if he ever wants to shoot the shit. So he's a friend. He's a friend of ours.
I would say, as a friend, I would say, you know what, dude? I understand if you didn't want to, and if that's the best for your mental state, then don't do it. But you're right, bro. I think, and from reading some of the stuff that where he has apologized, he's actually been the big. It looks like, to me, and this is the media. You can never tell. But with the stories I found, it sounded like he was the bigger man that actually came forward and said, you know what, I apologize for the comments that were made when the breakup happened. I agree with you. I think he would do it. But all I'm saying is that I would say, and this is a personal message to him, is that if he decided not to, I would understand that too. Why he wouldn't.
Fully understand.
Yeah. Right.
So then for you, let's actually say there was a big demand. You've talked about how you would like to see President Trump give the Medal of Honor to those guys who were fallen. Let's say that it wouldn't be the Medal of Honor. What medal would it be?
It's a presidential citation. There's a name for it. I'll Google it right now because I'll be honest, I don't even remember.
Yeah, but either way, let's just say he wanted to recognize the Glenn Doherty and Ambassador Stevens, all the guys who are no longer with us, and he wanted all of you guys at the White House at the same time. You, Tig, Oz. And President Trump personally gave you a phone call and said, "We'd like to do this." Would you do it?
For you know what? That's a damn good question. I don't want to give my answer right now.
Okay.
I would. But if it was for Roan but I said, but you're right. Circumstances. If it was for me, like I said, if it was for anything else but just Roan and Ambassador Stevens, Sean Smith, and Bub. You're right. You're right. You know, I'm right now. I'm leaning to say yes, but it would be something where I would definitely sleep on. And if it was, I probably wouldn't have a whole hell of a lot of contact with the other guys there that I didn't get along, just because it's not necessary, and it's not necessary to bring up any bad feelings, but out of respect, because those guys are heroes and they deserve it. Fucking A, President Trump. I don't know how the hell they have not gotten those presidential medals for courage and whatever I don't remember the terminology, but those highest, basically the highest medal you can get as a civilian, which is comparable to the Medal of Honor in the military. Why they haven't gotten it yet. But out of respect, you're right, bro. And that's a good point. Out of respect of Roan and Bub and Ambassador Stevens and Sean Smith, yeah, I would say yes, because if I didn't, that'd be me putting my selfishness ahead of everybody else, and that's not what I would want to do. So you make a good point, and that's something where there would be a asterisk there saying no, I would never do it, except here's the asterisk right here, except unless they were offered, those guys were offered. If it was the case where, because there have been people that have come to me and said, hey, we're petitioning to get you guys that medal. I'm like, fuck, I did my job. I don't want a damn medal. I didn't want the Valor medal that the State Department gave us. I don't know where that's at. They probably threw it away. I don't want the CIA medal. I don't want any of that shit. But so if that wouldn't be anything, like, fuck, no, I'm not going for that. But for those guys, again, I've said it 3 times. You made a valid point. You have me, and you deserve a kick in the nuts for fucking for putting that asterisk there. But that's a damn good point. And of course, I most likely would. And the reason being is because they deserve that, and those are the ones that gave all. I did my job, but they gave all, and they deserve my respect by being there. If the families wanted us there, it really wouldn't be, to me, it wouldn't be really up to President Trump saying I want you there, or whoever other politician. It would be the families want us there. If the families didn't want us there, I would respect those wishes as well, because those are more important than but you're right, bro. I get what you're saying. So fuck you, you motherfucker. You got me.
Makes sense. All right. So wrapping things up here, Fort Scott Munitions is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition. It's designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that you receive the same results with every pull of the trigger. Fort Scott Munitions is available throughout privately owned businesses in all 50 states, as well as directly online through fortscottmunitions.com. Get on it now, guys, because product is flying off the shelves, and this is the best ammunition on the market. We stand behind them. Use the exclusive promo code Battleline for 15% off your order. Only available to listeners of the Battleline podcast. Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Chris Peranto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline podcast. And they're the reason, along with our other sponsors, why we're doing this for free for you guys, not putting the show up on a crowdfunding site. If you support us, just support our sponsors, and you're going to get some kick-ass product along the way. And I should throw out there, we also have shirts. The shirts are great. I've been wearing them all the time. Tonto-apparel.myshopify.com. So you don't have to throw us a donation or anything. Just buy a shirt if you like what we do, because you'll love it. It's tonto-apparel.myshopify.com. Look under the Battleline Tactical header, and you'll see those there in different colors. We got a red, green, black. I've got my red and green. There's a few different options there.
We've got the blue. I like the navy. Yeah, the navy. That blue is always my favorite. So but check it. They're great. They're the next level tees, which are the nice, soft, form-fitting tees.
That's currently what I'm wearing. A next level shirt. This is my Towel for Vegas shirt, though.
That's awesome. But that's for those of y'all that buy all those T-shirts. That's the good. Soft blend.
This is my go-to shirt. I wear it all the freaking time. I think I was with Drew Dwyer when I bought this. I was like, that's a badass shirt, man, and I wear this all the time.
And then they just fit right,
Yes.
and they feel good, and they hold their shape, and they hold the graphics. You're never going to wash the graphics off. Doesn't matter. And believe me, I'm a guy that just throws laundry in when Tanya, my wife, doesn't do the laundry and I'm doing it. I don't separate. I just throw it all in at once. Put it on hot. I still wash like a single guy, and all the stuff stays on, all the graphic stuff. So great stuff, bro. And yeah, they're awesome. I love the shirts, and it helps us. And again, Fort Scott, thank you for always sponsoring us. Damn near sponsor every show.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, I concur with Ian saying get your orders in, because they're still backed up like every ammo company out there. But unlike every ammo company out there, they are working their asses off to get all those orders filled, and they're working 24/7 to get those things out. So check them out, guys. Definitely.
They're the best. They really are. And show update next week is going to be the last show of the last week of 2 shows a week, I believe, unless anything changes on your end.
We'll work on that, bro. I think June we need to tone it down a bit.
We'll do 1 show a week for June.
Yeah.
And we'll play it by ear, man. But a lot of people checked out the show this month, which is great. We'll be back in studio. And after next week, I think we'll do a bunch of in-studio guests, because I miss that in-studio interaction. I miss being at Gotham, and Skype is great. And it's like finally I got a good connection here. I mean, it was months of this thing sounding terrible. So finally we got it figured out, which is good to have for the future. But there's nothing like being in studio, I think, and I'm looking forward to you being back in studio.
Oh, brother. That's all you. You know me. I'll be here with my shirt off, sitting in my Ranger Silkies, my Ranger panties, my Ranger Silkies, doing the podcast, and then.
When New York is back to normal, though, you got to come visit, though.
Well, we're still going to have that book signing eventually, if we can ever have it. So I'll be, and I come to New York. I'm there for at least once every couple months because
it's been a while. Because it's been 6 months.
Yeah, and that's never gone that long. That's why I usually there. And so I'm going to. I always come back for something. There's always something that I have to be in New York for every couple months. And I said I enjoy the city. I enjoy being in Manhattan. I enjoy for 2 days. That's my limit. 2 days. I got to get out of there. But I do. I enjoy. I will just go down to 6th Ave and I will just people watch. I'll sit right around where the Sirius studios are. There's a fountain. There's that nice steak restaurant.
Yep. Del Frisco.
Yeah, Del Frisco's. I'll go to Starbucks, because there's a Starbucks basically every 2 stores on every block, and I'll get a coffee, and I just love just to go there and just sit there and people watch.
Although not a whole lot of people to watch right now.
You know what? That would actually even be cooler, because I think it'd be so eerie. And surreal. So, but I'm not into flying anywhere in the time being. So,
no, there's no reason to, unless you have a course that that you're getting paid to do. I totally.
But even then, I'm going to drive. I'm
really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm through with flying unless I have to, because I can't make the schedule where I have to.
So you're going to drive to Maine?
I am actually going to drive.
How long of a drive is that?
However long I want to make it. I'll take my time, and it's wonderful seeing. It is wonderful seeing this great country on the interstate, but primarily where I'll cut off and I'll go off on highways and seeing the backcountry on the old highways. Those are fun. It's wonderful to do that. Yeah, it takes more time, but who says I got to drive 16 hours in one day? You break it up and you make it enjoyable. If I have to do it where I can't drive, I've got to drive 16 hours in one day. Well, yeah, then I'm going to have to break down and fly. But in the meantime, no, brother, no. And I've never been to Maine, and this country it's people travel everywhere to go see all these awesome sites around the world. And I've been to a lot of these awesome sites around the world. Not all of them, but I've been to quite a few of them. When I come back to the United States, we have all that same sort of sites that you travel around the world in one country. And I think people miss that. You can go see canyons and big ass holes, and then you can go into the Ozarks.
I'm not going to let you say that and not get away with it. You can see big ass
holes in Arizona.
That could go many ways. I see big assholes.
I'll let people let them play with that. That's funny. I
No,
am, dude.
you're right though, because when I went to South Dakota, people were like, "What the hell is there to do in South
Oh
Dakota?"
my
Let me tell you,
gosh.
there's a lot of stuff to do in South
There
Dakota.
is.
So
Get on the west side of South Dakota, go to Mount Rushmore, but then also see the
Badlands National Park.
yes, the Badlands. Oh my Lord, it's cool. It's awesome. And then you can even you're close enough to go see the big ass Devil's Tower that was in what's it?
Are you thinking of Pee-wee's Big Adventure? Because there's something at Wall Drug that was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
No, I'm thinking of it was a Steven Spielberg movie.
You're the movie guy.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Devil's
Okay.
Tower. That's actually, you just go north. Well, you go to South Dakota, then head up north, and you'll see Devil's Tower, which is surreal from it because you can see it from a distance. And if you've seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that's that flat mountain, that big tower, the big mountain that's out in the north. It's just completely flat on the top of it. It's badass.
We're gonna end the show with "Pity" from Bias. I love this song. I think you guys are gonna dig it.
Take a look around, you don't live in a fable. Not everything in life works in harmony. Made up in your mind, being left behind. It's just a sign that you think you're way beyond the line. Lay your efforts out on the table, out in the open for all to see. Now let's see if you were able to measure up to the mean tally. You're confusing notion with progress on a path leading to nowhere, finding meaning in some asinine things, clear like a focus, placing blame for everything only defeats the purpose. Morale, it's winding down, living up to the label. Never even thought about uncertainties. Motives not defined, like you're flying blind. So misaligned, not a chance you even get a try. Lay your efforts out on the table, out in the open for all to see. Now let's see if you were able to measure up to the mean tally. You're confusing notion with progress on a path leading to nowhere, finding meaning in some asinine things, clear like a focus, placing blame for everything only defeats the purpose. You don't know what you don't know. Why'd you think we were prettier? You don't know what you don't know. Why'd you think we were prettier? We were prettier. We were prettier. You're confusing notion with progress on a path leading to nowhere, finding meaning in some asinine things, clear like a focus, placing blame for everything only defeats the purpose. You don't know what
That's all for this episode of Battleline Podcast. But we have new shows up every Monday and Friday, so make sure you're subscribed. And keep up with the show 24/7 on Facebook and Instagram at Battleline Podcast. Also on Twitter at Battleline Pod. As always, never quit.